to satisfy Texas Supreme Court and Office of Court Administration orders and directives, that all of our proceedings be made available to the public in a virtual fashion, so as to, one, allow the public to access the courts and observe what's going on in the courts, and then secondly, to do so virtually rather than being in person. We are not conducting in-person hearings in order to comply with the Supreme Court's mandates. I am sitting in the courtroom at the bench, but all other participants except the court reporter are appearing remotely. I have been spending a moment or two launching the court's YouTube channel, and there. Now then, we are ready with our first matters. I call for purposes of arraignment, cause number 10,762 and 10,763. Those two cases are both styled the State of Texas versus Justin Dean Reeves. Are you Justin Dean Reeves?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Reeves, have you received copies of the indictments in these two cases?
Yes, sir.
That's what they are. Yes, sir. When did you receive your copies of the indictments?
Respectfully to you this morning, but I just want to talk to you for a minute. I did 10 years flat. I brought my iPhone and I showed a sheriff earlier, but he said, I'm pretty sure y'all have that information. I did 10 years flat while I was incarcerated at that unit. I might have been under medication and I don't remember what took place.
Hold on. First of all, it would be helpful if you moved a little bit closer to the computer, to the laptop.
Is that better?
That's better.
Okay.
Secondly, we're only here for an arraignment. And we will not be going into the merits of your case. And most likely any attorney who represents you would advise you not to be talking about your case until your attorney is with you. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, sir. Yes.
All right. And I tell you that not to try to prevent you from talking. I'll be happy to listen to what you have to say. But this is probably not the time. It's not the time for you to go into a discussion of your case. So let me go a little bit further and tell you, as I was starting to do, we're here for an arraignment. In order to have an arraignment, the law says that the person accused has the right to have a minimum of 2 days notice of the charges in the indictment, the formal charges. That means you must have had a copy of the indictment for at least 2 days. That's why I was asking, when did you receive your copies of the indictment?
Just this morning.
All right, sir. Thank you. So that means you have not had 2 days notice. That means we either need to reschedule an arraignment for you, or we will be happy to go forward with the arraignment if that's something you want to do. If you want to give up the right to have 2 days notice of the indictment and go ahead and take care of the arraignment this morning, we will do so. But
Yes,
that's
sir.
your choice, and I'm not going to force you at all to as to which choice you want to make. So do you wish to go ahead and do the arraignment this morning while you're here, or do you wish to reschedule and come back at a later date to do your arraignment?
No, sir, I'll work with you today if you don't mind.
All right, sir. Then, then let's go forward with the arraignment. And I will tell you that you have the right to have someone read the indictment out loud to you. Do you wish to have someone read the indictment out loud to you?
No, sir.
Do you understand that in each case, the indictment charges you with assault of a public servant, which is a third-degree felony?
Yes, sir, I understand.
And I'm looking at the indictments myself. In each indictment, there is what's called an enhancement paragraph, which alleges that you have previously been convicted of another felony offense in another jurisdiction prior to the time that this indictment alleges this offense occurred. Are you aware that there is an enhancement paragraph in each indictment?
No, sir. I didn't know.
All right. Look at the indictment there that you have. The second paragraph, or the last paragraph before the bottom signature area.
Yes, sir.
It alleges that you have previously been convicted in Palo Pinto County in 2010.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. I understand.
Okay. So you understand that there is a charge, a third-degree felony charge of assault of a public servant in each indictment, and there is an enhancement paragraph in each indictment. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
In the indictment, is your name spelled correctly?
Yes, sir.
And is Justin Dean Reeves your true and correct name?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Reeves, for a third-degree felony offense, the range of penalties extends from not less than 2 years to not more than 10 years in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice, and a third-degree felony carries the possibility that a fine could be imposed, and if it were to be imposed, it would be in any amount not to exceed, not more than $10,000. Do you understand that's the range of penalties for a third-degree felony?
Yes, sir.
Now, with the enhancement paragraph, if you were to be convicted of this offense, and if that enhancement paragraph was also proved to be true, then the range of penalties would be increased to that of a second-degree felony. And that range of penalty runs from not less than 2 years to not more than 20 years in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice. And again, a second-degree felony carries the possibility that a fine could be imposed, and if imposed, it could be in an amount not to exceed $10,000. Do you understand that's the possible range of penalties that could exist for a third-degree felony with an enhancement paragraph if that proves to be true?
Yes, sir.
All right, sir. Now that you have had the opportunity to, or I have had the opportunity to make sure you understand what the charge is and know what the range of penalties are for these indictments, let me ask you, to the charge in cause number 10,762, alleging assault of a public servant, how do you wish to plead? Guilty or not guilty?
Guilty, sir.
And to the charge in cause number 10,763, which also charges assault of a public servant, to that charge, how do you wish to plead? Guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
Do you have an attorney representing you in these matters?
No, sir, not at the moment.
Or is it your plan to employ your own attorney?
Yes, sir. I have a full-time job. Like I said, I just did 10 years flat. I came home April of last year. I got my driver's license in August. When I got released from Huntsville, Texas, they said, you're free to go. You don't have no trouble. When this occurred, I pled guilty today. I don't really remember what took place. I was under medication probably at the time. But yes, sir, I
Mr.
do.
Reese, I'm just asking you about your plan to employ an attorney.
For sure. I have a full-time job.
Okay. Do you know which attorney you're going to employ?
No, sir, not at this moment.
All right. And can you tell me about how long you anticipate it will take you to get your attorney employed?
As soon as possible. I mean, I try to network with my family and try to get something going as soon as possible.
Okay. That's a wise, that would be a wise decision. And I recommend that to you. Let me tell you that we will schedule another hearing for you next month. I believe it will be on February 4, but you will get another notice through your bondsman and your attorney as soon as your attorney lets us know that he or she represents you. Who bonded you out?
Hoppy's Bail Bonds out of Grant or Mineral Wells, Texas.
Okay. Well, we will give your bondsman notice. We will send a notice to you as well of the next hearing.
Do you
Okay.
need the phone number?
No, sir. We will get it off of the bond information that is supplied to us. I tell you what, I'm sorry, you may have put your card up. You might give that information to the bailiff there in the room with you.
Okay.
He is going to give you a document entitled Acknowledgement of Arraignment. Take a moment to look at it. It is designed to say what we have already discussed.
Yes, sir.
Satisfy yourself if you can. I mean, read it and make sure that's all it says. And if you're satisfied that's all it says, there's a place in the bottom left-hand part of the document for you to note your plea by just circle and then sign your name. If you have any question about it, let me know and we'll discuss it before you leave. Mr. Ramish, can you hear us?
Yes, sir.
Do you have that form? There it is.
Yes, sir. There you go.
And I told them wrong. This indictment was from May of 2020. So you were arrested this past Sunday, right? In Young County?
Yes, sir.
So you have made bond on this indictment.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I understand what's going on, the charges. I understand.
The bond that you made, was that last May?
The bond I just made was just the other day. It was just recently. I got pulled over. I think it was the 4th or 5th leaving work. January 3rd. And they just said, we're going to rate, we know you don't get no trouble. Said, we're just going to run your name and number right quick. They said, you got 2 warrants coming from Scurry County. I said, I don't have no idea what that is. I told them I just got released from Huntsville last year.
Okay, hold on. January 3rd would have been Sunday.
Yes,
The indictment wasn't issued until January 4. Do you remember what day of the week it was that they?
Judge, this is an indictment
Oh,
from a previous month.
okay.
So
I'm sorry.
you would have been arrested on the indictment.
Okay, good enough. Thank you, sir. That cleared it up for me. I appreciate that. So that would mean you have had notice of the charges. Nevertheless, Look at that document, make sure it says no more than what we have been discussing. And if you're satisfied that that's all it says, then sign it and note your plea.
Personally, just, you're planning on getting your lawyer, right? I would circle not guilty for now, and you can change it at any time.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Do you have any questions about that document, Mr. Reeves?
No, sir.
And it's my understanding that you're circling a plea of not guilty at this time. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And that's probably the wise thing to do.
Yes, sir.
And so we will note your plea is a plea of not guilty at this time. And then after you confer with your attorney, you can make decisions on how you wish to proceed.
Yes, sir.
Okay? Do you have any questions?
No, sir.
Then that concludes our arraignment. Mr. Ramish, what do you need for Mr. Reeves to do now?
I believe we have everything, sir.
So he's ready to go.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Reeves. You may be excused. I will see you again in a month.
Sorry about y'all's time. I apologize. Trying to do
No,
the
sir,
right.
you don't have to apologize. Thank you, sir.
Sorry about that. We had them all worried. I didn't see that date. The next two on the list, they're not out here. They're not showing up, haven't shown up.
Mojica and Adrian Villa.
Correct.
We have a note that Adrian Villa has not yet been arrested.
Yes, he was released on a PR bond.
No, he hasn't been. My note says he has not been arrested with this indictment.
Correct.
He was released on a PR bond earlier because he had been in jail more than 90 days without an indictment being returned.
Yes, sir.
But he now has to be arrested again.
Yes, sir. He hasn't been arrested though.
Okay. Likewise, David Mojica, I say likewise. The other question is, David Mojica, has he been arrested?
He's made an original bond, but he hasn't been arrested on the indictment.
Okay. I'm going to call his case anyway. And we'll have you, or I suppose you, and I think Juan is still here at the courthouse. We'll have his name called, and then we can proceed. If he doesn't answer, we'll proceed with an ISI and a new warrant. Okay, so let's do that now. I call cause number 10,842 for the case styled the State of Texas versus David Ramirez Mojica. The case is called for purposes of arraignment after Mr. Mojica was indicted by a Scurry County grand jury on January 4, 2020. Mr. Ramish, do you know if Mr. Mojica, Mr. Mojica bonded out when originally arrested? Yeah, that's what the file shows. Mr. Mojica is not present in the courtroom, partly because we're not doing in-person hearings, but he was required by his bond to appear in court. Since he is not here, I will ask that his name be called distinctly 3 times at the courthouse door and at the law enforcement center, where everyone has been directed to report for this morning's arraignments. And then you will report back and Mr. Rodriguez will call here at the courthouse. He's serving as bailiff here at the courthouse. So we'll do that. And then while that's being done, we will proceed to Stephen Couch, which we're going to do similar things on, I know. And we will pass over Adrian Villa because he has not yet been arrested on this indictment. All right, I call cause number 10,844 for the case style, the State of Texas versus Stephen Richard Couch. Now, Mr. Couch is also not present. The court has been informed that he has been arrested on this indictment, has posted bond, but is out of state. And I advised the bondsman that I was advised that by the bondsman. I advised the bondsman we were going to call his name, but Mr. Smith, we will wait until Monday before issuing the NISI for failure to appear today, and give the bondsman and Mr. Couch the opportunity for Mr. Couch to appear. But until then, we will call his name today on his obligation to appear. And that will be called, the name of Stephen Richard Couch will be called distinctly 3 times at the courthouse doors, as well as at the law enforcement center. Mr. Ramus, do you have any question about that?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you. Then our next call, cause number 10,845 for the case style, the state of Texas versus Kyler Halen Hallman, Holman. Why don't you step out and ask him? Please remove your hat, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. All right, I now proceed as I just called to call cause number 10,845 for the case style, the state of Texas versus Skyler Halen Holman. This case is called for purposes of arraignment. Are you Skyler Halen Holman?
Yes, sir.
How do you pronounce your last name?
It's Holman. You said
Okay.
it.
All right, sir. Mr. Holman, it will be a little bit easier for us to hear you if you would move just a little bit closer to the laptop.
Sorry about that.
That's fine. Yes, sir. Couch. Mr. Holman, we are here for an arraignment in your case. We are doing our arraignments by remote video teleconferencing technology. I've already made those announcements on the record, but I just mentioned that to you so you'll understand why you're sitting in front of a laptop there at the Law Enforcement Center. Have you received, Mr. Holman, have you received a copy of your indictment in this case?
Yes, sir, I have.
How long have you had your copy of the indictment?
I want to say they just gave it to me as maybe like 15 minutes ago.
Okay. The law says you have the right to have at least 2 days notice of the indictment and the allegations in the indictment. Obviously, if you just received it this morning, you haven't had 2 days. And so that means we either reschedule you and have you come back after 2 days, or you can also tell me that you don't want to wait 2 days. You want to go ahead and get that process out of the way this morning.
I was going to ask if we could just go ahead and take care of it today. Only reason being is because I'm having to drive out here from Austin, Texas right now.
Yes, sir. That's your absolute right. So are you telling me you want to waive the 2 days notice and instead go ahead this morning?
Yes, sir. Yes.
All right, sir. Let's do that then. You also have the right to have someone read the indictment to you out loud. Do you want to have someone read the indictment to you?
I kind of went over it. I understand what it's saying.
Okay, so, but do you want to have it read to you?
I think I'll be okay.
Okay, I understand. So I need a yes or a no. Do you want
Oh,
somebody to read
sorry.
it?
No, sir.
That's
No.
fine. Do you understand that that indictment charges you with a second-degree felony offense of possession of a controlled substance?
Yes.
And it alleges that that controlled substance is psilocin. Do you
Yes.
understand that? All right.
Yes.
Now let me ask you, in the indictment, is your name spelled correctly?
It is, yes.
And is Skylar Halen Holman your true and correct name?
That is, sir, yes.
Then, Mr. Holman, I need to also tell you that the range of penalties that exist for a second-degree felony runs from not less than 2 years to not more than 20 years in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice. A second-degree felony also carries the possibility that a fine could be imposed.
Right.
And if imposed, it could be in or would be in some amount not to exceed $10,000. Do you understand that's the possible range of penalties that exist for a charge like exists in this indictment?
Yes, sir, I do.
All right, sir. Now that I know that you understand the charge and we have discussed the range of penalties you face for that charge, let me ask you, to that charge, how do you wish to plead at this time, guilty or not guilty?
I'd like to plead no contest. I wish to not contest.
All right. Do you have an attorney representing you?
No, sir. I think I may have a court appointed, but I'm not entirely positive. I do believe the first time I came, I did speak with somebody. I don't know if he was a court representative, but it was for, I think, the misdemeanor.
Oh, all right. I do not show any record indicating that you have been appointed an attorney.
Okay.
I will check with the misdemeanor court to see if there is an application on file. And let me address my court coordinator who is with us in this virtual conference.
Okay.
While we are talking, see if you can check with the county attorney's office or the county clerk to see if an application and a court-appointed attorney have already been made.
Okay.
And let me know. I'm sorry, my comments, Mr. Holman, were to my coordinator. She's going to check for us. If you have not already filled out a request for an attorney, let me give you an opportunity to do that while you're here this morning. Again, take advantage of the time you're here instead of making you go back to Austin and then come back to Snyder just to ask for an attorney. We'll try to do that while you're here. Mr. Ramish, who is the court's bailiff and is there in the room with you, will have two documents. I think he has both documents. The first one is entitled Acknowledgement of Arraignment. Please look at it. Read it, make sure you understand. It's supposed to say, it's designed to say what we've already covered.
Okay.
And it's just putting it in writing so I have something in writing to show that we did in fact do what we talked about. Down at the bottom of that paper, there's a place for you to circle your plea. If there's not an option for no contest. If that's what you want to plead, just write in no contest.
Okay.
And circle that. If you want to plead not guilty today, and then reserve the right to change that to a no contest later, then just circle the not guilty.
Okay.
It won't work against you.
I understand.
All right. And then if that's all it says, if you're satisfied, it says what we've discussed, then sign the document. But if you have any question, let me know. And then there's also a document. Mr. Ramus, do you have the application for a court-appointed attorney with you?
Yes, sir.
We have checked, Mr. Holman, while talking to you, my coordinator checked, and there is not any documents down in county court showing that you have or have asked for a court-appointed attorney. So while you're here, if you will fill out that form, someone will be with you in just a moment to make sure it's fully filled out and will notarize it for you. But let me give you a chance to fill it out now while you're here.
Okay.
Be sure and answer all the questions as well as you can.
Certainly completed. And then full name. And if you'll try to put everything in, or something in every line. It's two-sided.
Okay.
Kevin, can you assist him in making sure he fills out the request for an appointed attorney? Yeah, Mr. Holman, we want it in your writing, but Mr. Ramesh can help you with any questions you might have.
You want to move on to the next one, or?
Let's, I'm going to take announcements from Juan on those two cases he's called. And so we'll do that while Mr. Holman is filling out his papers.
I don't mind doing it if that's how you're going.
For you to do that? Yeah. All right, let's get on the record on these. Go ahead, Mr. Holman, and continue working on that paper, and I'm going to do a couple of other things, so I'm going to be speaking while you're doing that. All right, I get back on the record in cause number 10,842 for the case style, the state of Texas versus David Ramirez Mojica. And I will ask Mr. Rodriguez, did you have the opportunity to call the name of David Ramirez Mojica distinctly 3 times at the courthouse door?
Yes, sir, I did.
And did you get any response from Mr. Mojica?
No, sir, I did not.
And so is it your assertion, your representation to me that he did not appear at the courthouse?
Yes, sir.
The next on the record, I call cause number 10,844 for the case style, the state of Texas versus Stephen Richard Couch. And I again call upon Mr. Rodriguez. Mr. Rodriguez, did you call the name of Stephen Richard Couch distinctly 3 times at the courthouse doors?
Yes, sir, I did.
And did you get any response from Mr. Couch at your calls?
No, sir.
And so are you telling me as well that Stephen Richard Couch did not appear at the courthouse in answer to his case on this date, January 7, 2021?
That is correct, sir.
All right, sir. Thank you. Nice eyes will issue and warrants will issue. Subject, Mr. Smith, to the time that we will take for Mr. Couch. Okay. I'm just going to make, Kevin, will you satisfy yourself that he has filled that out completely? I th-
As far as I know, that's still out.
All right. Here's what I'm going to do to make sure not only that it's filled out fully, but if it is, and Mr. Holman is entitled to a court-appointed attorney, then I can give Mr. Holman, I can inform Mr. Holman who I am appointing to represent him. So he'll know today before he even has to go, before he goes back to home. So here's what I'm going to do, Mr. Holman. I'm going to direct you to come to the, to bring that paper you just filled out
Okay.
to the 4th floor of the courthouse and come to the district judge's office or the court coordinator's office. He will bring it in to me. I'm in the courtroom and you cannot come into the courtroom because of the restrictions that have been placed. And I will look at it, and if you're entitled to a court-appointed attorney, I will tell you, I will have her give you that information so you will know even this morning who's going to represent you.
Okay.
Also, you will then need to go across the street to the probation department and begin sign up for what we call a bond supervision program.
Yes, sir.
And that will be explained to you there at the probation office. Mr. Oliver, who does he need to ask for at the probation office?
He would need to ask for Shelley.
Okay.
And how would we know the attorney reimbursement fee on that, Judge?
We will tell you after I look at his documentation.
Okay.
We'll just give you that information the same time we give it to him.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Judge, he's gonna need to rebond on this.
Who bonded you out before, Mr. Holman?
Connie, sir.
All right. I believe she is there at the law enforcement center.
Yes.
And she has indicated to us, but I can't make a promise for her, but she has indicated to us that she will just redo the paperwork for you.
Okay.
And so that needs to be accomplished even before you come over to the courthouse.
Yes.
But everything should be, we should be capable of doing everything within an hour. And you would be able to start home if that's what you want to do.
Yes, sir. That'd be perfect.
Okay. Do you have any questions before I let you follow Mr. Ramish's directions?
I think you pretty much clarified everything.
All right, sir. Thank you. You may be excused.
Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And what they're gonna have to do is they're gonna have to go through the booking process again and just,
Right.
put another bond in there.
Okay. That's fine.
Judge.
Yes. 10 o'clock.
Yes, they were going to bring in Cabrera next. I just got an email from the OCA interpreter that he is running a few minutes late and he will sign in just as soon as he can.
Great.
Yeah, because they only give us 30 minutes.
Yes. We should be able to do an arraignment in 30 minutes. But
You want me to tell the jail to send in the next one instead? Which I think is Gonzalez.
yeah, one of them is about to walk back in, probably with Cabrera. Hannah, who do y'all have next?
Cabrera? You need Mr. Cabrera right now?
We just got word from the interpreter that the interpreter is running a few minutes late. Didn't tell us how many few minutes that is. So my thought is, if we can, without it being too much problem for you, let's just go ahead and get Gonzalez in here and hold Cabrera until we get the word that they're coming. I mean, that they're going to be on.
Judge, we skipped over Phipps. Is there a
My understanding is that he is in the Midland County Jail.
Oh, okay.
That, and he has the same last name as another famous person, and thus he gets special treatment.
I see, obviously. All right, I'll make a note of that. Thank you.
Are you Sebastian Gonzalez?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Gonzalez, we're going to conduct an arraignment, so let me call your case. I call cause number 10,847. The case is styled the State of Texas versus Sebastian Cenobio Gonzalez.
Yes, sir.
This is a hearing on an arraignment in this cause. I know I've already asked you this question, but are you Sebastian Cenobio Gonzalez?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Gonzalez, am I pronouncing your name correctly?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Gonzalez, an indictment has been returned into this court charging you with a third-degree felony offense of unlawful possession of a firearm by felon. Have you received a copy of that indictment?
Yes, sir.
How long have you had your copy of the indictment?
2 days.
All right, sir. You have the right to have someone read this indictment out loud to you. Do you wish to have someone read the indictment to you?
No, sir.
Do you understand that it does charge you with unlawful possession of a firearm by felon?
Yes, sir.
In the indictment that you received a copy of, is your name spelled correctly?
Yes, sir.
And is Sebastian Cenobio Gonzalez your true and correct name?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Gonzalez, as I mentioned, this charge is a third-degree felony, and the range of penalties for a third-degree felony runs from not less than 2 years to not more than 10 years in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice, the institutional division. A third-degree felony also carries the possibility that a fine could be imposed, and if it were imposed, it would be in an amount not to exceed $10,000. Do you understand that's the possible range of penalties you face if you were to be convicted of this charge?
Yes, sir.
Then understanding the charge and understanding the range of penalties you face if you were to be convicted of this charge, how do you wish to plead? Guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
Do you have an attorney representing you?
I have an attorney represent me on my MTR case, but not on this case. His name is Sam Darnell.
All right. I didn't catch that before. Are you still asking for a court-appointed attorney on this case?
Yes, sir. Or
Okay.
could I have Sam Darnell represent me on this case too?
Yes, sir. That's exactly what we're going to do.
All right, yes, sir.
Good. Now, I'm going to ask Mr. Ramish, who is our bailiff and in the room with you, to give you a document, a piece of paper that is entitled Acknowledgement of Arraignment. It's designed to say what you and I have already been discussing. Look at it, read it, make sure that's all it says, that you're satisfied that that's all it says. And then at the bottom right-hand portion of the paper, circle your plea and then sign it. But if you have any questions about it or what it says, let me know and we'll talk about it before you sign it.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Ramish, Mr. Ramish stepped out of the room.
No, he's back there.
Oh, okay, I see him. He was bending over the,
Just having to write real fast. Might not be able to read my writing.
all right, have you signed that document?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any questions about it?
No, sir.
All right, thank you, sir. We will notify Mr. Darnell that he has been appointed to represent you on this case also, and then he will be in touch with you in the near future.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
You want, if he has an attorney, does he probably need to circle not guilty at this time?
It doesn't matter. They can change that plea if the attorney, he and the attorney decide to. It doesn't matter. It doesn't hurt one way or the other.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Are you ready for Cabrera? Or you want to move on to the next one?
I still don't have the interpreter yet, so let's go.
We're probably gonna have some problems with Mr. Taylor.
Is he going to have any difficulties with us this morning?
More than likely, yes, sir.
Then,
He was the one yelling a while ago.
then let's get Mr. Faruska. Do we have him?
Aruka? Yes, sir. Up front.
Judge,
Yes.
if this is the same person, we've had him before and he's also challenged in language.
Oh. Kevin, I'm told Mr. Faruska sometimes has had a language problem in the past. Is that accurate? Do you remember?
I'm not sure about that.
I don't remember
Yes.
either.
He does have there was a female that's with him up front. I think he turned himself in and bonded out on the indictment, I think yesterday.
Well, It might be better to do Benny Hernandez.
I
Is he,
think we have had a Faruska recently who needed an interpreter, but I don't, just from looking at the guy's criminal history, I don't think he's dealt with this Mr. Faruska.
I believe that other one was Jose Veruska.
This is a younger gentleman.
Okay.
all right. Kayla, you think anything else?
That all sounds correct.
Okay, then go ahead and bring Mr. Faruska in.
Veruska?
Faruska.
Jose Veruska is the one I have on probation now recently that has language issues.
Okay. Well, I appreciate all of your input, but I accept the court coordinator's representations over all of yours. So.
I don't blame you. You have to work right across the hall from her.
I'll plead to Sergeant Schultz and say I know nothing.
Judge, the acknowledgements, do I need to put them off to the side and get them to you later?
Yes, that'll be fine.
I think I've placed some of them.
Okay,
Good morning, sir.
morning.
Are you, do you say George or Jorge?
Jorge,
Are you Jorge Olivares Faruska?
yes, sir.
All right. I see them, Ms. Coordinator. Can you communicate with him? Okay. Since we waited on him, we started another one. It might take us another 10 minutes. Mr. Faruska, we're about to conduct an arraignment. And so I'm going to call your case, and then I will ask you again who you are, but let me do that, and we'll just do that on the record, all right? Are you able to, do you have any language difficulties?
Yeah, a little bit.
Well, how much is a little bit?
70. Well, I understand everything. Yeah.
Let's do this. If you have any issues or problems whatsoever in understanding what I'm saying or asking, you stop me and tell me.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I call cause number 10,850 for the case style, the state of Texas versus Jorge Olivares Faruska. This is a hearing on an arraignment. Are you Jorge Olivares Faruska?
Yes, sir.
And we're having this hearing remotely by video teleconferencing technology. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
And that's why you're there at the law enforcement center instead of here in the courtroom at the courthouse.
Okay.
All right. Mr. Faruska, have you received a copy of the indictment in your case?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. You're showing me that yellow copy of the indictment. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
And you're out on bond after you got your indictment.
Yes, sir.
You have the right to have someone read the indictment to you. Do you want somebody to read it to you? Oh, yeah. You're gonna need more than that. Oh. I'll get I'm sorry for that interruption. Do you wish to have someone, I'm sorry, you probably answered, let me ask you again. Do you wish to have someone read this indictment out loud to you?
Yes, sir.
All right. Mr. Smith will read the indictment to you.
Okay, thank you.
In the name and by authority of the state of Texas, the grand jurors for the county of Scurry, state of Texas, duly selected, impaneled, sworn, charged, and organized as such at the January-June term AD 2021 of the 132nd Judicial District Court for said county, upon their oaths present in and to the court that Jorge Olivares Farusca, on or about the 17th day of September 2020, and before the presentment of this indictment in said county and state, did then and there operate a motor vehicle in a public place while the defendant was intoxicated by not having the normal use of mental or physical faculties by reason of the introduction of alcohol or a controlled substance or a drug or a combination of two or more of those substances into the body, or by having an alcohol concentration of at least 0.08. And the grand jurors aforesaid do further present in and to said court that prior to the commission of the aforesaid offense on the third day of October 2001, in cause number 28273 in the county court of Scurry County, Texas, the defendant was convicted of the offense of driving while intoxicated. And on the 13th day of May 2014, in cause number 2012-436056 in the 137th District Court of Lubbock County, Texas, the defendant was convicted of the offense of driving while intoxicated. And the grand jurors aforesaid do further present in and to said court that prior to the commission of the aforesaid offense, hereinafter styled the primary offense, on the 13th day of May 2014, cause number 2013-400458 in the 137th District Court of Lubbock County, Texas, the defendant was convicted of the offense of driving while intoxicated against the peace and dignity of the state, signed by the foreman of the grand jury.
Mr. Farusca, do you understand that that indictment charges you with a third-degree felony offense of driving while intoxicated?
Sir.
And do you understand that there are two other paragraphs alleging that you have two previous convictions for driving while intoxicated?
Yes, sir.
And then the indictment alleges one more allegation claiming that you were also convicted of a felony driving while intoxicated offense in 2014 in Lubbock. Are you aware of that?
Yes, sir.
All right. So as I read it, the indictment charges you with a third-degree felony offense and is enhanced, what we would say is enhanced one time with a prior felony conviction in Lubbock for DWI, which would make the punishment range that of a second-degree felony. Mr. Farusca, is your name spelled correctly in that indictment, the copy you have in front of you?
Yes, sir.
And is Jorge Olivares Farusca your true and correct name?
Yes, sir.
The range of penalties for the charge in the indictment, if it's just for the third-degree felony, is from not less than 2 years to not more than 10 years in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice. And there's a possibility that a fine could be imposed, and if so, in an amount not to exceed $10,000. Also, because of the last paragraph, the enhancement paragraph for a felony in Lubbock County, the penalty range could increase to that of a second-degree felony. If you're convicted first of the offense you're charged with right now, and if they prove that you were convicted back in 2014 in Lubbock County also, then the range of penalties would increase to that of a second-degree felony, and that range is not less than 2 years to not more than 20 years in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice, and it carries the possibility of a fine as well. And if a fine is imposed, it would be in an amount not to exceed $10,000. Do you understand those are the possible ranges of penalties that exist under the indictment in your case?
Yes, sir.
Understanding the charge and understanding the range of penalties you face to that charge, how do you wish to plead? Guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty.
Yes, sir, that's fine. Do you have an attorney representing you?
Not right now.
Are you going to hire your own lawyer, or are you going to ask for a court-appointed attorney?
I need court appointed.
All right, sir. Let's send him over here. He's on phone. All right, Mr. Faruska, the deputy, Mr. Ramish, is going to give you a document entitled Acknowledgement of Arraignment. It should say what we've already discussed.
Mm-hmm.
If you will look at it, make sure that that's all it says. There's a place in the bottom left-hand part of that document for you to circle your plea of not guilty and then sign the document. If you have any questions about what it says, ask me and we'll talk about it before you go. All right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Ramish. Oh, Mr. Faruska,
Sir.
go ahead and look at that paper, sign it, and then let me talk to you about it before you go.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Sign your full name. Try to put something on every letter. It doesn't apply to you. Sign it.
Okay. So, I need to filter out all this. Okay. First, we need to fill it out first, or we continue with it.
You gotta go ahead and fill it out.
Okay. All right.
What's he filling out?
The affidavit for indigence, request for appointment of attorney.
No, don't worry about filling that out right now. I'm going to give you some other instructions. Kayla, while we're doing all of this, would you ask Jeremy to come up? All I want him to do right now is the acknowledgement of arraignment.
Already signed it.
All right, so do you have any questions about the acknowledgement of arraignment form?
No, sir.
Then here's what I'm going to, that concludes our arraignment this morning, and you're through with the arraignment. But you still want to ask for a court-appointed attorney. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Then I'm going to ask you to bring the form that Mr. Ramish was showing you up here to the 4th floor of the courthouse, and I will have someone assist you in filling out that form so that I can look at it and then tell you who your lawyer is, if you're entitled to one. And I'll do all of that this morning, but you have to bring that paper up to the 4th floor of the courthouse and come to the coordinator's office.
Today?
Yes, sir, this morning. Just as soon as you leave there, you come up here.
Okay.
Can you do that?
Yes, sir.
All right. That's how you'll get a court-appointed attorney. If you don't come up here, then I won't know how to give you a court-appointed attorney.
Okay.
So you will bring that paper up here, will you?
Okay.
All right. I'll see you in just a few minutes.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You may be excused.
Judge,
Yes.
the OCA interpreter tells me not to worry. He'll stay with us as long as he's needed.
All right. Good. Then I'm fixing to admit him. There's not a text.
He don't get paid.
Kevin, let's bring Cabrera in.
And Judge, that file is on the bottom.
Yeah, I got it. Thank you. Mr. Perales, are you with us?
Yes, I'm here. Hello.
How are you, sir?
Doing fine. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm sorry for the time problems that you were having and we are having.
Yes. I already let the next court know that I'll be running a few minutes late, and maybe we can get through the morning, everyone, together.
Yes, sir. The changes that the new rules have brought about are extremely difficult, and especially when we have to have a case needing interpretation.
Yes, Judge.
Mr. Perales, sitting on my screen, it's the upper right-hand side of the screen, is Juan Manuel Cabrera. I have had him in court before and for an arraignment, and that's what we're planning on doing today. But I discovered at that time that Mr. Cabrera has language difficulties. And so I'm not real sure how you handle that. Can you introduce yourself to Mr. Cabrera and establish at least a discussion with him, and then I'll proceed with the arraignment?
Yes. Juan Cabrera, el que está hablando en español es el intérprete. Yo le voy a interpretar esta audiencia al español para usted. Es una audiencia muy inicial para informarle del cargo oficialmente. Ahora, el que estaba hablando en inglés es el juez. Usted vino aquí antes, pero luego se dio cuenta que usted necesitaba un intérprete, así que se pospuso la audiencia hasta hoy para que se consiguiera un intérprete, y es por esto que me conecté. ¿Puede escucharme bien?
Sí,
¿Puede entenderme bien?
sí,
¿Habla español usted?
sí.
Ok, déjame decirle al juez que ya podemos comunicarnos bien. Okay, Judge, he can hear me. He can understand me. It is Spanish that he speaks, so we're pretty much ready.
Mr. Cabrera, we are going to hold your arraignment this morning.
Señor Cabrera, hoy vamos a tener su audiencia inicial para informarle de los cargos oficialmente.
I'm going to call your case and ask you your name.
Voy a empezar el caso, la audiencia, y luego le voy a preguntar que usted diga su nombre completo y apellido.
Está bien.
Okay.
Okay. I call cause number 10,835 for the case styled the state of Texas versus Juan Manuel Cabrera.
Muy bien, estamos tomando este caso número 10835, el caso del estado de Texas en contra de Juan Manuel Cabrera.
Are you Juan Manuel Cabrera?
¿Usted es Juan Manuel Cabrera?
Sí.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera, we are holding this arraignment hearing by remote video teleconferencing technology.
Señor Cabrera, estamos teniendo esta audiencia mediante una conexión a distancia por video.
And that is why you are at the Law Enforcement Center instead of being in the courtroom this morning.
Y esto es la razón por la que usted no está físicamente aquí delante del juez, más bien está en otro lugar aparte, allí donde está usted.
Mr. Cabrera, have you received a copy of the indictment in your case?
Señor Cabrera, ¿a usted ya le entregaron su copia de la acusación formal de este caso?
No.
No.
Mr. Cabrera, I'm talking about the yellow piece of paper that tells you what you're charged with.
Me refiero a una hoja en color amarillo.
Oh, sí. Disculpe, sí.
Yes, I'm sorry, I did.
That's fine. You have the right to have someone read that indictment out loud to you at this time. Do you want somebody to read the indictment to you?
No hay problema. Mire, en esta audiencia usted tiene el derecho de pedir que le leamos aquí en público ese documento entero a usted. ¿Quiere que le leamos este documento o no?
No, así está bien.
No, that's fine.
Do you know that the indictment charges you with a state jail felony offense of possession of a controlled substance?
Entonces usted sí ya sabe que el cargo es un delito de poseer sustancias controladas. Ahora, en nuestro sistema judicial del Estado, bajo las leyes penales, es un delito grave, castigable en una cárcel estatal. ¿Entiende este cargo, señor?
Sí entiendo.
I do understand it.
Mr. Cabrera, in the indictment, is your name spelled correctly?
Ahora, en ese papel que le dieron, en esa acusación, ¿su nombre aparece escrito bien?
Pues no, como no sé leer bien, no sé si, no sé leer bien, no sé si estará bien o no.
You know, since I'm not able to read too well, I really don't know if it is or not.
If we spell your name to you, will you recognize that that's correct or incorrect spelling?
Bueno, vamos a hacerlo de otra forma. Si le deletreamos su nombre, así como está en el documento, ¿usted nos puede decir si está bien o no?
Está bien.
Okay.
Maybe a better way would it be to ask you, Mr. Cabrera, for you to spell your name. Can you do that to us, for us?
O más bien, ¿por qué no nos dice usted cómo deletrea su nombre y así podemos comprobar si está bien en el documento o no? ¿Puede hacer eso?
Juan Cabrera.
Es Juan Cabrera.
Sí.
How do you spell it?
¿Lo sabe deletrear?
Sí.
¿Cómo lo deletrea? Díganos.
Juan Cabrera.
Ajá.
Juan Cabrera.
How do you spell Juan?
Pero, ¿cómo lo escribe? Letra por letra, ¿sabe?
La J, la A, la N,
Ajá.
la A.
Ajá. I'm not getting this is by the interpreter. He's saying J-A-N-A-N it doesn't seem that the defendant may understand what spelling is.
Okay. I'm satisfied that I don't have to worry about the spelling at this time.
Está bien, señor. Mire, vamos a suponer que su nombre está escrito bien y deletrado bien en el documento.
Está bien.
Okay.
Mr. Cabrera, a state jail felony like that charged against you in this indictment carries a range of punishment from 180 days up to 2 years in state jail.
Ahora, señor, este delito, como ya le dije que es un delito grave, castigable en una cárcel estatal, bajo las leyes del estado, pudiera posiblemente recibir una sentencia entre 180 días hasta 2 años en una cárcel estatal.
It also has the possibility that a fine could be imposed in an amount not to exceed $10,000.
Este delito también posiblemente puede conllevar una multa de no más de $10,000.
Do you understand that that is the possible punishment range that you face?
Señor, ¿entiende usted que este es el posible castigo máximo que puede recibir?
Sí, sí entiendo.
Yes, I understand.
Then understanding the charge and understanding the range of penalties you face to the charge, how do you wish to plead? Guilty or not guilty?
Entonces, le voy a preguntar, ya que usted sabe y entiende el cargo y el posible castigo que puede recibir, le quiero preguntar a usted cómo quiere declarar ante este cargo, ¿culpable o no culpable?
It is okay for you to, if you wish, to enter a plea of not guilty, and you can then discuss that further at a later time with your lawyer without it being any negative to you.
¿Sabe lo que puede hacer para que no lo perjudique hasta este punto tan temprano? Usted puede decir no culpable y eso le da tiempo para que usted hable de este caso en detalle con su abogado.
Okay.
Okay, then.
Do you wish to enter a plea of not guilty at this time?
Entonces, ¿quiere hacerlo de esa manera, declarar no culpable por el momento para que hable con el abogado entonces?
Sí.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera, do you have an attorney already? Do you
Señor,
already have an attorney? Sorry.
¿Ya tiene un abogado ya que va a usar?
No tengo.
No, I don't have one yet.
Do you want to have a court-appointed attorney?
¿Quiere que el juez le asigne un abogado de oficio para que lo represente?
Pues no sé si estará bien o no.
I don't know if that's allowed or not.
It is allowed, and I will give you a court-appointed attorney if you would like one.
Sí se permite y le puedo asignar un abogado si usted me pide uno.
So do you want me to appoint you an attorney?
Entonces, mejor que quiere que le asignemos un abogado para que lo represente?
Sí, está bien.
Yes, that's fine.
All right, the next attorney on our rotation list is a lawyer by the name of Morgan Brooks.
Tenemos una lista de abogados que podemos asignarle. El siguiente abogado que le toca recibir una asignación de casos es Morgan Brooks.
I will notify her today that she has been appointed to represent you, and she will be in contact with you shortly.
Es una señora abogada. Le vamos a notificar hoy que ella ha sido asignada de oficio para representarlo. Y ella se va a comunicar con usted, señor.
Está bien.
Okay.
Do you have any questions before you are excused?
¿Tiene alguna última pregunta antes que ya terminemos esta audiencia?
No, todo está bien.
No, everything's fine.
Thank you, sir. That concludes your arraignment. We are in recess, and you may be excused from the room. And
Gracias, señor. Ya puede seguir a los carceleros. Ya terminó la audiencia.
Ok.
Kevin, I'm talking to the bailiff now. I'm not going to worry with the written acknowledgement of arraignment. We'll just rely on what's on record. All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Judge. Have a good day.
Thank you, Mr. Perales. I appreciate your assistance.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye. Well, quite frankly, that went better than I thought it would.
Yeah, that went, well. Looks like, yeah, he's done this quite a bit.
Yeah, that's all he does.
Who would you like next?
Yes, Kevin. Who do we have next? What kind of problems would it cause y'all if we hold Teeler to last?
He's doing okay right now. He's calmed down.
Okay, then let's go ahead and bring Teeler in. Terry is going to get off of the out of our system for just a moment, and so it'll take a moment or two, and then but go ahead and get Teeler in.
Hello.
Hello there. Let me take care of a couple of things, Mr. Teeler, and I'll be right back with you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
That's what Ernie Armstrong looks like.
I just saw a show called Murder Tapes. Have you seen
I know what you look like, Ernie. I ain't never seen you, but I know what you look like now. I ain't never seen you, Ernie. I just wrote you a letter. And I done wrote him about 1,000 letters. I'm finna tell him where his stolen laptop is. Down the street from Smokey's house, there's a 5.0 motor, transmissions, batteries, radiators. I'm getting rid of everything. I'm moving to Mexico. I just got whooped. Look at the damn arm.
Shirley Smith. That's my little brother's sister. I know who y'all thought it's Norris's sister. She works at the food stamp place.
Norris.
Norris Smith and Deshae Smith, that's Peter Smith's daughter. Yes.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes. She's light as me. She's lighter than me, one daughter.
Yeah,
I know, and then the woman that works up there at the food stamp place, she's a Mexican or white lady, she's racist. She called me a nigger in my face. My mama got all that.
What's your mom's name?
Geneva Elaine Taylor, that woman, 56 years old, getting beat by a white dude named Rocky B.
Does she live here?
1527th Street, apartment 5. Right there behind MH&R. Around the corner from Santos. And I got his daughter pregnant, Sky. She's gonna have a little boy and a little girl by me.
Why, because of last name?
And that's all the skips I know are good at.
Stereotyping, man.
I ain't never heard of Chris Oliver.
Probation officer.
Ben Smith looking at me like, I'm gonna quit squinting. He probably think I'm mean monkey. You know who I miss? I miss Stephanie. Bad. But I don't know her. I thought she was a Mennonite. That big woman. That woman with that big old butt. I mean, she was big, real big. I miss her, Matthew, and the one Mexican lady.
Oh, Stephanie the jailer?
Yes, I miss her. But we were like this, because one day she did check, and I was in medical 77. She came there, and I was praying, but I was crying. She said, "Why are you still?" I said, "I'm a medical patient. I have seizures." She said, "No, you're supposed to be at home." I said, "No." She said, "Yes, you are. You PR bond out." I said, "I got a misdemeanor B." She said, "You did your 30 days." So she went and got my release date and came back and gave it to me, 3 hydrocortisone creams, and she gave me the paper 12/29/2020. I still got that paper. I sent it to my mom and I hung it up on the wall. I got shot in the head. I got shot in the stomach. I got shot in the back. I got shot in the butt. I've been through some trouble. I've been in a drive-by. That's why I'm not going to know this no more. I lost Dolly White got killed in it. And Rodney Brazil is my cousin. We're at his house behind the sister club, her club, in the little blue house. And it was a deuce in the corner, a black one coming through. He cut his lights off and had mufflers. And my cousin, it's a Delta 88. And that car stayed big. It was high. And it just cut his lights off and it was black and it looked like fireworks was coming out. My cousin Rodney took off running. He should have said something to me and his mom. He didn't care.
His mom died?
Yeah. Shots right there between the eyes.
How many times did you get hit?
I got hit 5 or 6 times. Here's one of them right here. See it?
Wow.
That was a 22. They said the doctor Paul Shabib, I still remember him. They transferred me all the way to Brownfield. He said, "We can't do nothing, Mr. Kitty. We got to pull this plug," but I was still confident. I heard him say that. So if I do get out, I might have to go back to Brownfield and take care of him. Because he is 70-something years old.
Go take care of him?
Yeah, he could have killed me. He was going to pull my plug.
Oh, so you're going to go?
Yeah, I'm going to go handle him.
You're going to go help him?
Yeah, I know. I'm going to go kill him. No, I'm not playing. I got an AR-15, the one Stacey Davis is missing. I got an AK-47, I got a 38, the same 38 special that they took from me last time. I still got it. Oh, okay, I'm done.
Aren't you a felon?
Hell no, I'm not.
You're not a felon?
No.
That's what you charge you.
What they don't know I got guns. I don't keep none of them at home. The only thing I got is a baseball bat with ball wire wrapped around the top. And my probation officer. Oh. Stop. I just pulled a whole cactus off the bottom of my.
I know, but don't be pulling that dead skin off and putting it on my floor.
Okay, I'll cut out sweet.
You better.
Okay, I'll That's the coolest cook. That's the coolest cook right here.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes, sir.
Thank you for your patience. I am ready to get started in your cases.
Yes, sir.
What we're doing today is the arraignment. It shouldn't take us a great deal of time, but I'm going to call your case, or actually there are 2 cases, and I'll ask you on the record what your name is, or if your name is Michael Ray Taylor, and I'll tell you what the charge is, and I'll tell you what the range of penalty is for each charge. And I'll give you a chance to enter your plea, either guilty or not guilty. And if you want to enter a plea of not guilty, you may do so. It won't work to your disadvantage. It won't cause you any legal harm. And if you want to change that plea later, you will be able to do that without anything being held against you.
Yes, sir.
All right, sir. I call cause numbers 10,848 and 10,849 for the cases style, the state of Texas versus Michael Ray Taylor. These cases are called for purposes of arraignment. And Mr. Taylor, we are hearing these cases by remote video teleconference instead of in person. And that's why you're there at the Law Enforcement Center instead of being here at the courtroom. And we're doing that because the Supreme Court of Texas has issued orders that require us to do it this way because of the coronavirus pandemic.
Yes, sir.
And I just tell you that just for information purposes.
Yes, sir.
So let me ask you, for the arraignment purposes, are you Michael Ray Taylor?
Yes, sir.
And have you received a copy of the indictments? That's the yellow sheets of paper that set out what the charge is in these two cases. Have you received those?
No, I came 1/1/2021. I just got here. I got the ones from my last indictment. That's 6 or 7 charges, 4 gun felonies, burglary of a vehicle, and a burglary of a building. Now, the burglary of a gun charge, it says Missouri County. I was in state jail when that time happened. I was in Houston, Texas. My mother has it on paper, and she has everything. I just got out of state jail no more than a year ago. And that indictment is wrong because I was behind bars that day.
I understand. I understand that's your defense and position, and you will be able to present that. But these indictments were just returned Monday.
Yes.
In these indictments, they talk about the things that you were just talking about, Brazoria County and things of that nature. But that's just allegations. Did you see that in the papers that you were given this week?
I didn't get no papers this week. I ain't getting none this week. The only thing I got was a letter yesterday from my mom. I got 16,000. That's, if you give me a bond, I'm gone today.
All right. Well, bond has been set. So bond's already been set. If you can make a bond, that's already been done. You have the right to make a bond.
Yes, sir.
When did you get put in jail this time?
January 1st, 2021.
That was a week ago, 1 week ago today.
Yes, and I got 12/29/2020.
Okay. Can you remind me or tell me what you were put in jail for last week?
Theft, burglary of a vehicle, and possession of marijuana.
Okay.
On 26th Street.
Okay.
By MH&R, 1300.
You have the right to have someone read the indictment in these two cases out loud to you here this morning. Do you want someone to read these indictments to you?
No, sir.
Do you understand that in cause number 10,848, the indictment charges you with unlawful possession of a firearm by a felon, which, as it is alleged, is a 3rd-degree felony?
Yes, sir.
And in cause number 10,849, the indictment charges you with theft of a firearm, and as it is charged, it is a state jail felony.
Yes, sir.
All right, sir.
That's the 38 special, and Eloy Chavez is that 9mm that's a camouflage, and Kevin Brazil, my cousin, have it on 29th Street. His address is 2901 White House. His son lives there with him. He's got gold teeth.
All
And
right,
he's got
sir.
a black Yukon on rims. And he has a white wife with half black and half white kids.
All right, sir. The indictment charging you with theft, which is cause number 10,849,
Yes, sir.
it is a state jail felony because it alleges two prior, no, I'm sorry, that's wrong. I said that wrong. There are two paragraphs that also are in that indictment alleging that you have previously been convicted of state jail felonies. And if those were proved to be true, then that could make the punishment for this charge that of a third-degree felony. Now, let me tell you that the range of penalties for a state jail felony runs from 180 days up to 2 years in state jail.
Yes, sir.
And carries the possibility that a fine could be imposed in an amount not to exceed $10,000. The penalty for a third-degree felony, which applies to the underlying offense in 10,848, as well as to the enhanced paragraph in 10,000 or paragraphs in 10,849. The range of penalties for a third-degree felony runs from not less than 2 years to not more than 10 years in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice. And it also carries the possibility that a fine could be imposed, if imposed, in an amount not to exceed $10,000. And then finally, in cause number 10,848, there is also an enhancement paragraph in that offense alleging you were previously convicted in Lubbock County in 2014 of another offense, which all that does is add to the punishment range. It enhances it. And so
I stole that gun from a police officer
Yes, sir.
in Wolford. I know what gun that is. That's a 45.
All right, sir.
Walked all the way to Lubbock Apartments, Park Apartments, 903 to my brother's house. And I was walking to the mall and the law pulled me over and I had the gun on me.
All right, sir. If convicted of a third-degree felony offense and there's an enhancement proven, if it's proven, then the range of penalties for that offense could be increased to a second-degree penalty range of not less than 2 years to not more than 20 years in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice. That range also carries the possibility of a fine, if imposed, not to be more than $10,000. Do you understand I've discussed the possible range of penalties that could exist in these two cases?
Yes, sir.
All right, sir. Now, to the charge of possession of a firearm by felon in cause number 10,848, how do you wish to plead to that charge, guilty or not guilty?
Guilty. Because I was guilty for all them guns.
All right, sir.
I was guilty.
And to the charge in cause number 10,849, charging you with theft of a firearm, how do you plead to that charge, guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
All right, sir. And we know that Mr. Sam Darnell has been appointed to represent you.
Yes, sir.
Have you had an opportunity to hear from him?
I got one letter from him, and I still remember the date, 10/16/2020. He said I had 2 charges.
Okay.
Burglary of a vehicle, possession of marijuana.
Okay. Well, maybe he hasn't been appointed for these 2 cases, but I will appoint him for these cases as well. And I will see that he talks to you soon.
Yes,
all right. That concludes our arraignment this morning. Except I would like for you to look at a document entitled Acknowledgement of Arraignment. We may just have one of them for both cases. Do you have one or do you have 2, Mr. Ramish?
2.
Okay, one for each case. Mr. Teeler, if you would look at those, make sure they say what we have been discussing and not anything else. If that's all they say, then circle your plea on the bottom left-hand part of the document and sign your name. If you have any questions about it, I will be happy to talk to you about your questions.
Yes, sir.
Go.
Do you have any questions, sir?
No, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Teeler. You may be excused.
Like Mr. Hernandez,
I beg your pardon?
like Mr. Hernandez next?
Yes, sir.
He also will need to be rebooked.
Okay. Is he out on bond?
Original bond, he hasn't been arrested on the indictment.
Was Connie his bondsman in the original?
No, sir. I think it's an Ace bail bonds out of Sweetwater. And I should note, if the bond is insufficient, the bond is returnable to Nolan County, not Scurry County.
Okay. Are you Mr. Hernandez?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Hernandez, we're taking care of a couple of other documents.
Okay.
And so it'll take me just a moment.
Okay.
And if you will excuse me for just a moment, you can remain there. I need to step into another room to get those other documents. Thank you.
You're welcome.
At the same time, I think. I don't know. Judge,
Yes.
I finally got it on. They're in here, but I see you already got somebody else.
That's okay. We can do that.
Okay, I'll switch places with Mr. Faruska.
All right. Terry?
Yes, sir.
Would you ask Kayla to get back in there? Just make sure she's back in the office when I get Mr. Faruska on the line. Good morning again, Mr. Faruska. We're going to wait a moment for the court reporter to get back into the courtroom so he can take our conversation.
Sir.
Miss Court Coordinator, are you in front of your laptop?
Yes, sir.
All right, I have Mr. Faruska's order in my hand right now.
Okay.
You ready, Terry? All right, we're back on the record in cause number 10,850 for the case style, the state of Texas versus Jorge Olivares Faruska. The state's attorney is present. Mr. Faruska, I see you in front of a laptop. Are you still participating with us by remote video teleconferencing technology?
Yeah.
All right, sir. In other words, you're not in the courtroom, are you?
No.
All right, sir. I have looked at your request for a court-appointed attorney. I have granted your request, and I have appointed an attorney by the name of Jeannie Fuller to represent you. Have you ever used her as an attorney before?
No.
All right. Mrs. Fuller has an office in Sweetwater and an office in Colorado City. We will notify her today that she has been appointed to represent you. She will use the information you filled out in the form asking for a court-appointed attorney to get in touch with you. If you want to get in touch with her before she gets in touch with you, you can do that. If you will stop by the coordinator's office, she can give you the name, address, and phone number for Mrs. Fuller. Then you will be required to go across the street from the courthouse to the probation office and ask for Shelley Duggan to begin a bond supervision program. She will sign you up for that. And you will have to report each month between the 15th day and the 20th day of each month for bond supervision, in addition to your requirement to come to court. You will be required to pay $50 each month for a bond supervision fee and $50 each month, which will be applied towards reimbursing the county for the attorney's fees that the attorneys will charge for representing you, which we will pay, but the $50 will be applied each month towards that to reimburse the county. Do you know where the probation office is here in Snyder?
Yes, sir.
And you know it's right across the street from the courthouse.
Yes, sir.
All right. Do you have any questions before you go across the street to the probation office?
No, sir.
Then that concludes your arraignment today. You are excused. I will see you again in court 1 month from now, and your lawyer will be with you. But you have to go report for bond supervision and then report again between the 15th and 20th days of each month. If you will, you may be excused and you can go across the street.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And it's my understanding that Mr. Holman is also outside. Is that correct? Mr. Smith, just so you'll know, you'll soon see, I think, Mr. Holman is about to get in front of the camera. The court reporter is going to notarize his application for court-appointed attorney and bring it in to me. And then I can tell him over the phone, over the Zoom hearing, who his attorney is.
All right, Judge.
Thank you. Mr. Hernandez, I thank you for your patience. We're just about to get to your case.
Okay, thank you.
While we're doing some of these other things, I will tell you, Mr. Hernandez, that in just a few minutes, I will call your case. I will ask you your name again, or I ask you if Benny Lee Hernandez is your name. I'll ask you if you have a copy of the indictment. It's my understanding you just got a copy this morning. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
I will tell you, and I will retell you all these things, but when I retell it to you, we'll have the court reporter taking everything down.
Okay.
I will tell you that you have the right to wait at least 2 days before being arraigned. And if you want to wait at least 2 days, we will just reschedule your case and you will be required to come back.
Okay.
You are not going to be required to wait 2 days. If you want to go ahead and get the arraignment completed this morning, you can give up the right to 2 days and we'll finish the arraignment this morning. You will need to, I know that you will need to make arrangements to be bonded out or to get your bond replaced, either way.
I already talked to the bondsman, and they told me I had till February to restart it.
When did you talk to the bondsman?
Yesterday.
I don't know what they mean by you have till February. I think they were thinking you have until February when your next hearing occurs.
No, they were telling me that I had because I'm not working right now, and I got a job at the prison, and I didn't know about this until yesterday, and it kind of like gave me a scare. So whenever I got the call yesterday, he was telling me that I had till February, the beginning of February, to start making payments on my bail again.
To start doing what again?
To start paying my bail again.
Oh, okay. That's a little bit different matter. That's between you and him, or the bondsman. Who is the bondsman?
I don't know his name. My mom usually is the one that talks to him.
Is that a bondsman over in Sweetwater?
Oh, yes, sir.
All right. He needs to correct your bond. When he filled it out for you the first time, there's a mistake in it. And so he has to redo that. If he will, well, he's got to do that, or else you have to make a new bond. But that's something that you can talk to him about. I'm sure you'll be able to call him. I think they'll allow you to do that. I'm almost certain they'll allow you to do that before you go. But I will talk to you about that again in just a few minutes when we get you on the record. All right, sir? First, I'm going to take care of Mr. Holman.
Okay.
All right, let us get back on the record in cause number 10,845, the state of Texas versus Skylar Halen Holman. The record will reflect the state's counsel is present, and Mr. Holman is present. And when I say present, I mean by remote video teleconferencing technology. Mr. Holman, we're back on the record, and I'm looking at your request for a court-appointed attorney. I have some questions that I need to discuss with you to make sure I understand it fully. It gives an address in Amarillo. Is that your address?
That's my parents' address. I pretty much have all my important mail delivered there. Because between my mailing and my last address, there's been like some complications with that.
All right, sir. The phone number that you've listed is also an 806 area code. Is that a home number or a cell phone number?
If it's the 340 number, that is my cell phone number.
Okay. And is that 340-2097?
Yes, sir.
All right, sir. And that's your cell phone?
Yes.
Is it all right if I make a note to that effect on your document?
That's okay. Yes, sir.
Come on.
And who is your employer?
Oh.
I'm working for a Trio Electric.
And their home office is out of Houston?
Yes, sir. That's
What
where their
kind-
headquarters is at. It's in Houston, Texas.
What kind of work do you do for them?
I'm a journeyman electrician.
All right, sir. All right, so I'm going to approve your request for a court-appointed attorney. The next attorney on the rotation list that we use is a lawyer by the name of Trey Keith.
Okay.
Mr. Keith has an office in Sweetwater and an office in Abilene, but he is a very busy lawyer, and he is practicing all over West Texas. And I say that to say he's very seldom in his office because he is in every court that goes around. When we excuse you in just a few minutes, go over to the coordinator's office, and she will give you contact information for Mr. Keith, so that you can text him. We will tell him today that he has been appointed to represent you. He will use the information you have given to try to get in touch with you to let you know that he's been appointed. But if he will send you a letter, but he will send it to the Amarillo address because that's the address you gave.
Yes, sir.
And he may try to text you. And I'm going to write those numbers in my handwriting as well on your form, if that's agreeable with you.
That's fine. Yes, sir.
That way we'll have two possibilities of him being able to read. If he has any trouble reading my handwriting, he can read yours. If he has any trouble reading yours, he can read mine. Is that okay?
Yes.
All right. Now, the only other thing that's left for you this morning is for you to go across the street to the probation office. And when I say across the street, it's on the west side of the square, across the street from the courthouse.
Okay.
Right in the middle of the block. And you will speak to a Shelley Duggan. Ms. Duggan is a probation officer, and she is also supervising the bond supervision program today. She will sign you up for the bond supervision program, which will require you to report once a month for bond supervision between the 15th and 20th days of each month. It will require you to pay a $50 per month bond supervision fee and $100 per month to reimburse the county for court-appointed attorney's fees that the county may pay for you in paying for the court-appointed attorney. And that will start not today. I mean, you don't have to pay the money today, but that will start when you report for bond supervision once a month. Do you have any questions?
No, sir.
All right, sir. As a condition, one of the conditions of your bond is that you report for the bond supervision. So you got to go over there today to avoid being in violation of your bond. All right. All right, sir. That takes care of the arraignment, and you may be excused. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. All right, let's get on the record in cause number 10,851. The case is styled the State of Texas versus Benny Lee Hernandez. This case is called for arraignment. Are you Benny Lee Hernandez?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Hernandez, I talked with you just a moment ago before we got on the record. We're now on the record. And it's my understanding that you received a copy of your indictment today. Is that correct? And you have the right to have 2 days notice of the indictment charges, which I explained to you earlier. And obviously you haven't had 2 days notice because you just got a copy today.
Yes, sir.
Do you want to have us reschedule your arraignment, or do you want to give up the right to 2 days notice and go ahead and finish your arraignment today?
I'll go ahead and finish it.
All right, sir. You also have the right to have someone read the indictment out loud to you. Do you wish to have someone read the indictment out loud to you?
No, sir.
Do you understand that the indictment charges you with evading arrest, which is a third-degree felony in Texas?
Yes, sir.
In that indictment, is your name spelled correctly?
Yes, sir.
And it looks to me like you're looking at your copy of the arraignment. Is that right? I mean, the indictment. Is that right? All right, sir. And is Benny Lee Hernandez your true and correct name?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Hernandez, as I've mentioned, this charge is a third-degree felony charge. That means the range of penalties you face for this charge runs from not less than 2 years to not more than 10 years in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice. It also, a third-degree felony also carries the possibility that a fine could be imposed, and if imposed, it would be in some amount not exceeding $10,000. Do you understand that's the possible range of penalties you face for this charge?
Yes, sir.
Then understanding the charge and understanding the range of penalties you face for this charge, how do you wish to plead? Guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty.
I'm going to ask the bailiff who's in the room with you to give you a document entitled Acknowledgement of Arraignment. And that document is designed to say what you and I have been discussing. Please read it and satisfy yourself that that's what it says. Circle your plea of not guilty, which you'll find a place to do that in the bottom left-hand part of that document, and then sign your name. If you have any question about what it says, then please ask your question, and I will discuss it with you before you sign it.
Right.
Now, one other thing, do you have a lawyer representing you?
No, sir. I was supposed to get one. I think tomorrow.
And by getting a lawyer tomorrow, do you mean you're going to go hire your own lawyer?
I mean, I think my dad already has a lawyer hired for me. Yes, sir.
And so you and your family are going to hire your own lawyer?
Yes, sir.
Do you know who that lawyer is going to be?
No, sir. Because like I said, it was such a short notice, and yesterday I got a call, so I came in this morning.
I understand. That's fine. All right. Let me ask Mr. Ramish to give you the acknowledgement of arraignment form.
Okay.
Look at it, satisfy yourself that that's all it says. Circle your plea of not guilty, and then that will conclude the arraignment. Have you signed that document?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any questions about it?
Does like questions mean like anything towards that, or like towards like the charges and stuff?
I'll give you an opportunity to ask any question that you might have. Do you have a question?
So like Sweetwater, I went to court for Sweetwater, okay? And they had dropped all my charges. And so I saw that as a second chance. So I applied for the prison, which I've been wanting to work for a long time. So I got a job at the Geo facility in Big Spring. And I was supposed to start this week. And this came out of nowhere, so it kind of like screwed me over. And I was wondering if that would help or not. Like, could I still get that job or not?
I don't know. That's up to them. That's between you and them. I don't have any say over whether, I can't tell them that you get to keep the job. I can't tell them that you cannot keep the job. That's up to you and them.
Like,
Okay.
how does that work?
I beg your pardon?
How does that work? Like, since they dropped all my charges in Sweetwater?
These are not charges in Sweetwater. These are charges in Scurry County. And so that's totally different from Sweetwater charges. And so I don't know about Sweetwater charges. Let's see. Your bond, I told you a little bit earlier, there's a problem with your bond, and you have now been charged again by indictment. And so you need to visit with your bondsman about correcting the bond that was previously made so he can substitute it for this one, for this charge in this case. And until then, you are being held on this charge. But I'm sure your bondsman will take care of that. You just need to get in touch with your bondsman.
Okay, sir.
All right. That concludes the arraignment this morning. Thank you. You may go as directed by Mr. Ramish.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Have a good day.
Ben, the coordinator tells me that Mr. Anderson has a waiver on file and it is in proper form.
All right. Thanks.
I can't hear you.
Our
There you go.
our Wi-Fi is not very consistent this morning, and so it gives and it takes away. We have a waiver of arraignment on Anderson on file, and so we don't need to do Anderson.
Yes.
That means the next one I have is Billy Eugene McQueen.
Yes, sir.
Does that work for y'all?
Yes, sir.
Oh, hey, Kevin. Kevin,
Just have a seat right there and talk whatever. We can hear you.
I'm showing Sean Brummett and Christopher Bernal Sandovar have not yet been arrested.
Correct.
Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Are you Billy Eugene McQueen?
Yes, sir.
Mr. McQueen, we are about to conduct an arraignment in your case. I'm going to call your case. I'm going to ask you your name again, or ask you if you are Billy Eugene McQueen. Then I will give you a chance to have the indictment read if you want to have it read. And we would just finish your arraignment this morning. And it shouldn't take much time at all unless you have questions.
No, sir.
All right, sir. I call cause number 10,853 for the case style, the state of Texas versus Billy Eugene McQueen. Are you Billy Eugene McQueen?
Yes, sir. Senior.
Mr. McQueen, we are conducting this hearing by remote video teleconferencing technology, and that's why you are at the Law Enforcement Center today instead of in the courtroom. And we're doing that because of Supreme Court of Texas mandates. Mr. McQueen, have you received a copy of the indictment in this case?
Yes, sir.
And you are out on bond on this charge?
Yes, sir.
You have the right in an arraignment to have someone read the indictment out loud to you. Do you wish to have someone read the indictment to you?
No, sir.
Do you understand that the indictment charges you with a third-degree felony offense of driving while intoxicated?
Yes, sir.
Mr. McQueen, in the indictment, is your name spelled correctly?
Yes, sir.
And is Billy Eugene McQueen your true and correct name?
Yes, sir.
Mr. McQueen, as I've mentioned, this offense charges a third-degree felony, which has a range of penalties running from not less than 2 years to not more than 10 years in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice. And it carries as a third-degree felony the possibility that a fine could be imposed, and if imposed, in an amount not to exceed $10,000. Do you understand that's the possible range of penalties that exist for a third-degree felony such as this?
Yes, sir.
Now that I know that you know what the charge is, and I know that you know what the range of penalties are for this charge, to the charge of third-degree felony offense of driving while intoxicated, how do you wish to plead to this charge, guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty.
Do you have a lawyer representing you in this case?
I'm gonna hire an attorney.
How long do you think it will take you to get the attorney hired?
Probably within maybe a week or so.
All right, sir, that's fine. We certainly will give you that opportunity. Let me tell you that we will have another hearing scheduled in your case or for your case approximately 1 month from now. I believe that will be on February 4, but you and your bondsman will receive notice of that setting and you will be required to appear.
Yes, sir.
If your attorney lets us know that he or she represents you by that time, we will give the notice that we would otherwise send to you to your lawyer. And that just, I tell you that to illustrate it's important for you to keep in contact with your lawyer so that he or she knows how to get in touch with you so they can tell you when you have to come back to court.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, that concludes the arraignment this morning. I only have one other thing for you to do. Mr. Ramish is going to give you a piece of paper entitled Acknowledgement of Arraignment. It is designed to say what we have already been discussing. Please look at it, read it, satisfy yourself that that's what it says. And if so, then there's a place in the bottom left-hand part of the document to circle your plea. So just circle the not guilty and then sign your name. If you have any questions whatsoever about that document, let me know and I'll discuss them with you even before you sign it. Do you have, so Mr. Ramish will give you the paper now.
Yes, sir.
Do you have a question before he gives you the paper?
No, sir.
All right, there it is.
Yes, sir. Work right here.
Just circle and not.
Yes, it's right. You see it?
All right. Have you signed that document, Mr. McQueen?
Yes, sir.
Did you have any questions about it?
No, sir.
That concludes your arraignment this morning. Before you leave, I will give you one other chance. Do you have, not chance, but let me just ask you again. Do you have any other questions or any questions you want to ask this morning?
No, sir.
Thank you, sir. That concludes your arraignment. You may be excused. I'll see you again next month when your case is scheduled again.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Is that it? Okay.
Kayla, who did I appoint to represent Cabrera? Kayla, who did I appoint to represent Cabrera? You don't know.
Cabrera, Morgan.
That's right. It was Morgan Brooks.
Yes, I just looked it up.
Can I close this or do we need to leave it open?
I believe that's everything we have this morning. You know,
Okay.
and so we can close it. Thank you, Hannah. Thank you very much.
Uh-huh.
Thank you, Mr. Smith.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
I'll see you virtually this afternoon.
Virtually so.
1:15, I'm told, remember?
Yes, sir. Oh, Judge,
I'm listening.
Morgan's office is calling here wanting to know, can this guy do the plea in Colorado City or does he need to come to the courthouse in Snyder? It's a probation plea. I told her to tell the guy to come here because he's going to need to go to the probation office.
I will back you up on what you told. I think that's the best plan.
Yeah.
It is possible to do it from there. But my thought is if she wants to see him and have him sign papers in our office, do so, and then tell him to come over here. We'll put him in the what is that, jury room and do his plea with her, each of them being remote, but he being close, and he can go across the street from there.
Yeah. Hang on just a second. Jara's just stepped in. She may know something more.
There is the call and ask thing. I don't know where they're going to be at when I'm hearing, but they're going to tell them to go straight to probation after the hearing.
Okay. Judge?
Yes, sir.
The latest word, Jara's been on the phone with Clarissa and with Morgan just the last few minutes. It may be that the guy does the plea from their office in Colorado City or someplace, but they're going to instruct him to go to probation immediately after the plea is over, or they've already told him to do so, I think.
Okay.
So
that's
I'm
fine.
okay with that if that's the way it's going to work out.
That's fine. We'll just tell him that if he doesn't do so,
yeah,
that's an additional charge.
Sure. Okay.
While you're there and Kayla's standing to my right, but for the record, and there is no record, we're not holding a hearing here in person. So Jeannie asked about Silva, and I threw her a curve this morning. Let me ask Kayla. Does she have something else set in the afternoon?
No, she's the one third.
For her, does she have something else set?
Oh, yes.
Oh, okay.
Which is why her plea is set tomorrow afternoon.
Tomorrow afternoon is Friday afternoon?
Yes.
At what time?
3. I'm getting you out of here when you need to be.
Okay. Are you aware that she wants to do Silva by plea tomorrow afternoon?
Yes.
Kayla just broke my phone.
I did not.
It's got cracks in it. I see it, and you just touched it. Okay. That's all I needed.
Okay.
And I don't mind doing Morgan's, which case is it? Kayla can probably tell me. But
the guy's name? I forgot.
Alonzo Wesley.
Alonzo Wesley.
Oh, that's a probation revocation?
No, it's a new probation.
Yes, sir. Third from the bottom.
Oh, I see it. There's his name and her name. What about LaZoya? Does he have an attorney yet?
As far as I know, he does not. We haven't heard anything from him.
I wonder what he's going to do. Okay. Thank you. It went very slow, but quite frankly, it went better than I was afraid it would go.
It went fine.
Okay.
All right.
You too.
See you in a little bit.
All right. See you.